Thursday, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. Welcome on the show. My name is Wally Scott. Mukael, too much drama. But let's start with the major drama first off. We've got Stanley Ikawu later on the phone. And of course, we'll try and analyze this together. Now, the Electoral Committee set up by the Sports Ministry for the Nigerian Basketball Federation elections has vowed to go on with the polls on October 30th, despite the ministry suspending the polls indefinitely. Now, in a statement on Monday, announced the indefinite suspension of the NBBF elections in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Now, the ministry said the decision to suspend the elective Congress became necessary to avert further deterioration of the leadership crisis in the federation, insisting that a rancor-free development of basketball in Nigeria was of utmost importance to the ministry and stakeholders, and advised all concerned to comply. But the chairman of the NBBF Electoral Committee, Larry Glover, in a statement on Wednesday yesterday, said the committee was unaware of any change. The statement read, the Electoral Committee is unaware of anything that has changed since that time that may justify a volte-face on the holding of elections. The Electoral Committee was set up by a duly constituted Congress of the NBBF and is responsible to that Congress, whose authority is supreme. All arrangements have been put in place for the elective Congress in Benin City, with the world body FIBA, Sports Ministry, and the Nigeria Olympic Committee invited as observers. Stanley Ikawu, good morning.
Good morning, Wallace.
Wow, Stanley. The drama of the NBBF is getting embarrassing by the day. First off, they go to court and they stop the men basketball team in Nigeria. Then we have two different fractions, Tijani Umar led, Musa Kida led. Now they've arranged elections and then the ministry says, I suspend it indefinitely. And the NBBF said, no, you guys are government, you can't get involved in the politics of sports, leave us alone, the elections still hold. Why is the NBBF consistently embarrassing the nation?
Now, first things first, the sports ministry, led by the sports minister, needs to understand just one thing as a fact or for a fact. They have no power, and I repeat, they have no power to interfere in any federation election. Now, having said that, it's because of the way we are structured and wired in this part of the world when it comes to administering sports. That's why we always feel it's the right of the government to interfere, because they spoon-feed some of these traditions. But reality must not be swept away. Whether we like it or not, there is a Congress, there is an electoral committee. Well, it's like the federal government telling INEC to postpone an election. It's for INEC to decide whether an election will be postponed or not once a date has been set. So if that is the case, like I said, I don't think, and I repeat, I see no reason why the sports ministry to postpone an election when there is an electoral congress and there is an electoral committee.
Now, Mukael, let me come to you on this one. It says there's an electoral committee. First of all, government is not allowed to get involved in federation elections. Don't get involved in it. Now, if that is the issue, what the sports ministry are doing is actually wrong, because FIBA is already being represented in the country already ahead of the Saudi elections. And FIBA is the continent's basketball governing body.
It goes against the very constitutions and legal tools that set up the NBBF. And at the very least, it goes against international sporting norms, because the international sporting administrations would frown on this, and any attempts to inject politics and political interest into the decision making of who gets to be leading the NBBF when elections are held, how they're held, and regulating them, goes against everything that we know is acceptable sporting.
Okay, Stanley, let me come to you on this one. It's obvious that the sports ministry are trying to stop. Before this, there have been protests by so-called disgruntled elements in the NBBF. I had Colonel Sam Amedu on the show who said they are only disgruntled, they are being sponsored by some people. And the sports ministry thinks the best way to stop this is stop the elections. I think this is wrong. FIBA is already here being represented ahead of the elections. I will tell them to go back. That will indefinitely, who does this?
Now, one the sports ministry, once again, led by the sports minister, called both Musa Kida and Tidane Umar to round table meeting to resolve whatever crisis or issue or risk they have between them. Now, if FIBA, having recognized Musa Kida as the eligible president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, now, I don't think Tidane Umar has any reason to challenge that. Now, it's a fresh election. It's a round table. Everybody has his own follower. Everybody has his own loyalty. Now, if that is the case, the sports ministry should allow the election go down. Let every supporter of whoever they want to pick as their candidate vote for who they feel like. Now, if the sports minister feels calling both of them to a round table meeting has not yielded any positive result, I think the election will come to this. Okay, and whoever feels he will not satisfied with the outcome of the election can approach the court.
Now, Stanley, quickly before we go to the next discussion today, the NBBF intends to call the bluff of the sports ministry. How might this end on Saturday?
Well, it all boils down to their loyalty to one. Sorry to use that word, but that's what's in this part of the world. It all depends also on what their supporters would come to the round table to do. Now, like I said, it's not a do or die affair. It's not a make or mar affair. It's not anybody's household property. You are called to serve, and I think it's like in sports. You win some, you lose some. Now, once you lose, you should be magnanimous and congratulate the winner and move on. Now, if the interest of the country and the support and the federation is being put at heart by these two major gladiators, I think that should be their major weapon, because at the end of the day, the sport is the one that is always affected.
To the next discussion. NBBF, I call it the bluff. You know what I'm saying? Our elections will go on. FIBA is involved already. At the end of the day, the elections go on. Winners emerge. FIBA goes back home. NBBF remain here. You know, what might happen?
I believe the ministry will back down, because if this goes to a head in court, the NBBF win, because they already are legislated to operate independently of the ministry for the very sake of maintaining the level of freedom to organize and represent their sports.
Okay, Stanley, before we go finally, let me crack a joke like this. In Nigeria, the reason why we cannot stick to the fact that we can't get involved from government is because we always end up going to the government for funds most of the time. We know NFF and NFA are the same thing. When they don't want government money, or they have more money government wants from them, they become NFF, overnight federation. But when they want to ask the government for money, they become NFA, association. So the government feel they must be involved. If you take money from us to go for competitions, then we must ask you how our money was spent and get involved in your moves. It's only normal. You guys run to government for money most of the time, but you don't want government to get involved with your issues. How does it work like that?
Now, that's why I feel the sports ministry, if they can interfere, they have every right and power to interfere in the electoral process or in the election. I would go down in belief. But like I said, I must be blunt and realistic. Sunday Dare must back down as far as interfering in the NBBF election. It has got nothing to do with running to the sports ministry or the federal government. The FIBA, who happens to be the overall body running football in the world, these are both their own people to ensure that the electoral process goes smoothly. It's not the business of the sports ministry.
Okay. Now, West Ham has ended Manchester City's 4-year hold on the League Cup yesterday as Liverpool and Tottenham booked their places in the quarterfinals. Now, Phil Foden was the only man to miss from the spot as Mark Noble, Jarrod Bowen, Craig Dawson, Aaron Cresswell and Said Berahama all found the net. Now, West Ham coach Stuart Pearce feels the club are heading in the right direction after claiming a second big scalp in the League Cup. They beat current holders Man City on penalties to reach the last 8 after a goalless draw at the London Stadium, after winning against Manchester United at Old Trafford in the previous round. Barcelona have sacked coach Ronald Koeman after Wednesday's La Liga defeat at Rayo Vallecano, the Catalan club has said. Now, Barcelona are 9th in La Liga on 15 points from 10 games, 6 points behind leaders Real Madrid, who beat them 2-1 at the Camp Nou. They are third in their Champions League group with 3 points from 3 matches after suffering 3-0 defeats in their opening 2 games against Bayern Munich and Benfica. Barcelona, 5-time European champions, and the result marked the first time in the club's history that they had failed to score in their opening 2 European games. Koeman, who spent 6 years with Barca as a player, was brought back to the club in August 2020 by former president Josep Maria Bartomeu. Now, Stanley, first of all, you let Luis Suarez go. Then you let Lionel Messi eventually go. And of course, they are in a rebuilding process. It's normal for them to fail. But this is almighty Barcelona. They have sacked their coach now.
You must understand one thing, that in sports generally, as a sports man or woman, as a sports institution, there will always be that law of diminishing returns. And your ability to get back makes you a greater or a better team. That's first. Secondly, now for Barcelona, not all coaches or coaches as it were would achieve the success Pep Guardiola did while he was coach of Barcelona. That's true. If Ronald Koeman feels that Luis Suarez was not in the plan of having no impact on those to play in a football philosophy, I don't think anybody should question him. Now, it's because the results are not going his way.
Okay, Stanley, I'll come to you. I was thinking, Stanley, that we'll be seeing Francis, we'll be seeing Ronald Koeman, looking at him and seeing him, what he's going through right now. Okay, go on, Stanley.
Now, for the manager who enjoyed 52 games last season, with 34 wins, 8 draws, and 10 losses, he won the Copa del Rey, whether you like it or not, in a season where Barcelona used to be disgruntled. Now, as a manager, as you know, you and I would agree that once a manager loses the dressing room, there's always a problem. And that's where the hierarchy of the Barcelona dressing room will always come to play. What I think I said was that it's been difficult with life after the Olympics. Remember, at the point there was the Shapovalov, there was the Ronaldinho, there was the Petersbug, there was the Maxwell. There were 6 world-class players at Barcelona. Now, if you don't give other players an opportunity, you would not discover the best player, the best thing. So, if you're implementing this, I think it's job of the club and the coach himself to build another new element. Let's see him fall from the sky. The coach saw him and feel, oh, it will work well in my plans. That's one of the most celebrated, if not the most celebrated players in the world. So, as far as I'm concerned, the pressure Barcelona actually mounted on Ronald Koeman, or probably it was overwhelming, coaching a club as big as Barcelona. Some of the people he had there, that he was successful as a coach as a player at Barcelona. It's not a guarantee that as a coach, he will replicate that same thing.
Exactly. Now, Mukail, let's look at it like this. This guy actually met a club that is depleted. He came in sounding like a general, giving orders. Messi, you don't have any more privileges and blah, blah, blah. So we're like, yeah, a general is here now. But then Suarez leaves. And then Messi leaves. And then this man, love it or leave it, has a depleted side at this point. He has to regroup, rearrange. Is the problem Ronald Koeman?
No. I mean, Ronald Koeman made a lot of mistakes in the course of being manager of Barcelona. But those were mistakes that any manager could have made. Picking the wrong player in the wrong match, choosing to leave out a player on the bench for too long, not bringing him on in time for him to make a change. But ultimately, he had a team that had been a squad that had been built around Messi for decades and had gotten so dependent on Messi bailing them out. You lose Luis Suarez. The fact is, the manager didn't need Luis Suarez. He didn't feel he needed him. You lose Lionel Messi, that was above his pay grade. You lose Griezmann because his wages are so high, the club needs to balance the books. So this is the best time to move him on. Now you have a bunch of youngsters like Pedri, who is now injured. Pedri, who is injured, who has been playing over 60 games, over 70 games, over 80 games throughout the entire of last season, the summer, and now he's back and is injured. Ansu Fati is just getting back and he's not 100% yet. You have Braithwaite, who's gone, and you have Xavi, Nico. These are youngsters who are 17, 18, at most 19. A Barcelona squad is not expected to do well when you have such players. This is not a Barcelona player. This is not a Barcelona team. This is an Arsenal team under Wenger.
Yeah. Local media reports suggest that former midfielder Xavi Hernandez, who is currently in charge of Al Saad in Qatar, and Belgium coach Roberto Martinez are the front runners to replace Ronald Koeman as Barcelona coach. Now, Koeman was sacked after Barca's 1-0 La Liga defeat at Rayo Vallecano yesterday. Now, Xavi extended his stay in charge of Al Saad for a further 2 years in May, having turned down the chance to coach the Catalans in January 2020 after Ernesto Valverde was axed. The former midfield great joined the Qatari outfit as a player in 2015 after 17 trophy-laden years with Barca, becoming a head coach after hanging up his boots in 2019 and leading the team to the domestic league title in April while remaining unbeaten. Martinez has been in charge of the Belgian national team since August 2016, and despite seeing them hold onto the number of one FIFA ranking for 3 years, a much sought-after trophy has eluded the former Everton and Wigan coach and his golden generation Belgian players. Now, Stanley, you said earlier that being of a legend or a former player in a club will not guarantee you being a good coach. Talking about Koeman now. Now, they've got Xavi Hernandez on the books, a Barcelona legend, and they've got Roberto Martinez, who has kept Belgium on the FIFA rankings on #1 for so long. No trophy, though.
Well, that's not an achievement, being on the FIFA ranking for 3 years. Now, Mark Wilmot was start. Roberto Martinez was brought on. And different players from Thomas Vermaelen to the company and to date, nothing has changed. Like I said, in this era of generation of Hazard, as a Wilson, Yannick Carrasco, Lukaku, Beata, and the like, don't do anything meaningful, then Belgian Football Association should be held responsible. That said, now as a coach, what has been the impact of Roberto Martinez? His team. What has been his achievement? Now, he left Wigan Athletic as a manager that won the FA Cup back then. Now, from then till now, what has been his achievement? That said, Xavi is loved by the Barcelona hierarchy, by the followers of Barcelona, those who put money in the club. But it's a different ball game entirely now. Now, what has he learned so far? Now, coming into the system, yes, he will be giving all who have to operate and of course the necessary support they need. But Wale, it's a different ballgame entirely. And the fellow will always remind you of what is the experience as Juventus. A fantastic midfielder all day, every day. But he came to Juventus and it was overwhelming. So is Xavi ready to take up that mantle of leadership at the dugout?
Okay, Stanley, I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you very much. Quickly, Mikhail, is Xavi ready? Can he make it happen?
I think Xavi could actually be the next Guardiola. A midfielder with an understanding of how play develops throughout the midfield, from the back, through the midfield, up front. He has been a midfield general for such a long time, and that's the kind of mindset and an overview of the field and knowing where every player needs to be in order to get the right...
And to get the right players to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Barcelona's talk and all that. Okay, join us same time tomorrow, same station, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I'm leaving you with tennis, the St. Petersburg in Russia, where Rublev and Shapovalov have qualified in their respective matches. And of course, they're doing very well in the St. Petersburg Open. Join us same time tomorrow. My name is Wally Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.